Okay, so thanks for joining me for this conversation, Director Felton Thomas. And for all of our listeners, I want to let everyone know that we are going to have a conversation or discussion revolving around the library and its connection with the citywide reading campaign. And Director Thomas has a lot of great things to share with us and tell us about as far as the new library and other initiatives. And our first question that we have is for him to introduce himself and talk about his role before we really dive and delve into our conversation.
Uh, Thank you, Nina. So I'm Felton Thomas. I was born and raised in Las Vegas. Started working in libraries when I was 13, and was very fortunate enough to continue working in libraries. Became a librarian, and eventually became the director of the library I was shelving books in, and started working there, helping folks and uh, working in the community. And my work kind of got noticed by the folks here in Cleveland. They called me and said, "Well, we understand you really are doing some very positive work in the neighborhoods there, and one neighborhood is specifically in Las Vegas. We'd love for you to do that in our 28 neighborhoods that we have a library in the city of Cleveland." And so was very fortunate to get the position, and I've been here now almost 14 years.
Wow, that's quite a legacy. That's quite a start. Well, I know everyone that has an opportunity to speak with you and see the work that you've done know that they made the right decision.
So thank you. I'm really proud to say that I'm the director of the Cleveland Public Library, and really proud to be here in Cleveland. Everybody who sees me, they'll see me walking around. I'll either have a Cavs, Guardians, or Browns hat on, depending on the season. But I love being here, and I love the community and the folks, and it's just been a great experience for me and my family.
Very good, very good. So tell us about Cleveland Reads. What is the goal?
So Um, when the mayor was elected, I had a chance to do a sit down with him about the things that really mattered to him. And he had two areas that he really hoped that the library could work with him on. One was digital literacy, which is something that we have been working on for a number of years. And then the second was just basic literacy. And it's the foundation of what libraries do, which is we want everybody to read, and we want to be able to provide them with access to the ability to read materials that they want to read, right? That they're excited to read. Um, and so we started having conversations about what that could look like as far as a literacy campaign. And we talked to the mayor, and ultimately we came up with a mayor's reading campaign, and it's called Cleveland Reads. And the idea around it is to get a million books and a million minutes read here in the city of Cleveland.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. So, okay, how do you track that? How do you know that people are participating in that? How do you know?
Well, we're very fortunate that this isn't something that's new to us. And I think we're participating with 30 different organizations right now. And by the end of next year, we're hoping that would be 100 different organizations that we're working with throughout the city, right? But we're
Oh,
very fortunate that we do this every year. Our summer reading campaign for our young people is a very similar type of campaign. And our young people will go online, or we will go online for them and enter their books so that we keep a record of it. And then we're able to give incentives, awards out for kids who read more and more. And so we know how to do this really well. And so it seems like it would be overwhelming, but we think we're going to be able to keep track of everybody's books, their minutes, and get us down to the finish line where, before December 31st, we've read over a million books for this in the city of Cleveland.
wow. That's a very, very noble, reachable goal because people definitely enjoy reading, especially when they see what all the library has to offer. The topics are just limitless. I mean, from education, health, wellness, gardening, fashion, design. I mean, there's such an array of things for people to be able to delve into and touch into passions of their own.
That's true. And I think one of the keys for us and why we also say a million minutes of reading is because while in many ways a lot of folks read books and things that are personal to them, we also want to make sure that folks who are reading in different ways are recorded. So the folks who are reading the newspaper, reading magazines, the folks who are reading the kids who are reading comic books,
Mm-hmm.
right? We want to make sure that folks read in many different ways, and that the way they read isn't holding them back for participating in our program.
Okay, that's very well thought out, and it feels like a project that's going to yield not only the results that you want, but even more because of how much thought has gone into that. So I'm very excited to know about this, and to see how I can incorporate it into our organization as well to be a partner with that because I know that we will definitely appreciate to be involved.
Well, we look forward to it because we think it's an opportunity also for different organizations to compete against each other to see which organizations of like mind, like size, can compete against other organizations in the city to see how many books or how many minutes they can read against the other folks who might be competitors or maybe folks who they've known and are friendly competitors. They just want to compete against it. You imagine all the pizza shops competing against each other to see which of their companies can read the most.
Oh, well, this can get really creative and get all over the place. Oh my goodness. Okay, I see.
That's the
I
idea.
see.
So it'll go on in a year for a year, and so during that period of time, we hope to see many iterations of things changing, where folks are finding ways to compete against each other, to find ways to give back to their community. For instance, what if someone decides that they want to, give $1 to every one of their staff for give $1 to be used to buy books for kids for every one of their books that are read by their staff, right? So it
Okay.
is just a way that's always there for our community to figure out better ways of putting books in the hands of children.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Very creative, and creativity is what takes the idea to the execution stage. So it's definitely something we'd love to be a part of. So, this initiative is a passion of yours and Mayor Bibb. Why is it needed? We kind of touched on that a bit, but let's dig into that a little further. Why is it really needed?
Well, unfortunately, we know that Cleveland's literacy rate is unfortunately not what it should be. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, there is a seventh grade reading level is considered to be uh, literate, and unfortunately, 66% of the city of Cleveland does not reach that level, right? So when you have illiteracy rate of 66%, we know that we've got to delve into how do we get our community members and folks to think about literacy in a different way, right? And think about reading, but also pushing themselves to get better at the whole concept of reading and understanding, because it's such a benefit to them for their work, right? Such a benefit for their enjoyment in life, such a benefit for their health, right? So it's one of those things that whatever we can do to push people to think about reading in a different light is something that we really want to do. And Mayor Bibb understands that. And as he said, the library was a passion of his when he was a young person. It allowed him to go so many different places. He wants others to experience that and be able to see the joy in reading.
Mm-hmm. Very good, very good. I love it. I love it. So, how can people join the Cleveland Reads Challenge?
Well, clevelandreads.com is going to be the place that we are going to start sending folks to. Um, First, though, we're going to have our big kickoff December 17th
Okay, okay.
from 12 to 3 o'clock at Public Auditorium. Mayor will be there. We'll have a lot of our partners there. There'll be a lot of things for our families to come and participate in and have fun with their kids, get free books, get other free items that are would be helpful for them as they go into the Christmas season.
Hmm.
And we're just going to have a good time and fun time and kick off the whole Cleveland Reads campaign, right? So joining us there, then joining us at clevelandreads.com and getting to learn more about the campaign and what they need to do to participate.
That's wonderful. I will make sure that we circulate this all around and through our organization, and we do our part to be able to help out and to support and get the message out there as well.
Yeah, so we will not only need folks reading just to be a part of the campaign, but we'll need reading ambassadors to help our young people uh, keep them on track, to inspire them to read, and to, in some cases, where they want to listen to what they read and hear their story about how excited your child was to have read that book.
Very good, very good. So the program isn't just for children. Why is it important to get more adults reading, would you say?
Because I think what we understand is families that read lead to kids that read,
Uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh.
If so, children pattern themselves after what they see their parents doing, and if they see their parents reading, then they want to read themselves. And so, what we want to do is make sure that our adults are out there reading, so that their children can see them, and then fully the family can participate in overall the whole campaign together.
Hmm. Because it really, as you said, does start with the parent. They have to model the behavior and be the example that they want the children to be so that they can see how it's done and see the value of the book and the value of turning the page. Even though we're in the digital age, there's still such a value of paper books, on this library shelf. That's a historical point there. Go ahead, you're about to say.
Well, no, I was just going to say, when it comes to it, when you look at it from the standpoint of people might not read books in the way they used to when they were younger or something of that nature, but we're reading every day,
Hmm.
right? It may be we're reading an article online, or we're, reading something about uh, something we want to do that comes to us through YouTube or something of that nature, where you're having to kind of digest something. And audiobooks, we're listening to things as well,
Hmm.
right, to better understand something. So all of these things that are ways that we end up learning are we need to record, because we're doing many different ways of learning and enlightening ourselves, and enriching ourselves, and those things need to be recorded as well.
Hmm. Good points. Very good points. Things have changed. Bottom line, learning has
Right.
changed. The way people learn and the way they understand and assimilate information has definitely evolved. And the library has done a very good job in trying to stay pace with that so that people don't lose their interest for reading or lose their interest for topics or life's, environments that we find ourselves in that we need to educate ourselves on and be able to understand how to make decisions about whatever is taking place. So, next, what would you say the Cleveland Public Library has been encouraging reading for over 150 years? How does the Cleveland Reads Challenge highlight the ongoing work at the library?
Well, and as I would say to everyone, reading has always been what we do, right? For 150 years, um, the idea was that information were in books, and to make sure that we were that great equalizer where folks who didn't have money could get access to it, libraries were created,
Hmm.
right? And in many ways, that still is the way things are. Many a lot of great information are within books or in access to in a place where you need to be able to read that at. Um, our job has always been to kind of look at it from the standpoint of whatever our community needs, we're going to be there for them. Now, sometimes it's entertainment through DVDs, sometimes it's food for our kids and working with the food bank to provide them food so that
Mm.
they can have food in their belly and then be able to read.
Oh, wow.
But
Okay.
it always is about trying to figure out, ultimately, we want the library to be that place where someone can be enlightened and inspired, right? And there are many different ways for them to find that. We do know that foundationally, that has historically been through the ability to read and to hear something or through audio or whatever that may be that enlightens them, that inspires them.
Hmm. I like how you broke that down. The access to the information. That's what stood out to me about the response that you gave and your partnership with the food bank. Because really, when you're hungry, that's all you can think about. It does not matter what you're reading in front of you or what you're looking at or what you're trying to learn. If you're hungry, nothing else matters at that moment. So, that's a huge, huge step in removing the barrier to the access of the comprehension of what the child or the adult is reading. So that's something that I think most people may not know.
Yeah, no, one of the more interesting things that I was meeting with a council person, someone obviously of note, and he was telling me that during his summer reading program, he was able to read 10 books and then get a coupon for free pizza. And he said he felt so proud of himself when he was able to take the pizza home for his family because that was going to be what their dinner was that night, right?
Wow.
And he said, so we recognize that while this contest is supposed to be fun, it's
Hmm.
supposed to be about, right, getting kids to inspired. Many times the things that we're going to provide them are going to be things that our children are not going to be able to have. And so we're really happy that we have partners that are going to be working with us to make sure that we're bringing things to families that really will make a difference in their lives.
Yeah, that you said it very eloquently. These these extra things that they get, these prizes, and they help them bring things to their family that they wouldn't be able to get elsewhere, or it would be difficult for them to do so. So it's a built-in reward,
Yeah.
which is very, very, very special. What reading resources are available for families?
So the number one resource is they have their library and their library staff who are there to help them along the way. But we'll be very fortunate. We'll have a number of this reading um, bookmarks and things of that nature, kind of giving children some ideas about things that they should could be excited about that could be helpful for them. Our partners are going to be working with us on things that will help them think about different type of readings that will tie into their organizations as well. So, and then we'll have the website, which will be fun and opportunity for the children to see types of books that might really excite them.
Well, I'm not a child and I'm excited.
That's the idea. I mean, this should be fun, right? It's all about having a little bit of fun and doing
Mhm.
it. And so, a kid with the mayor. So, in this was done. We didn't create this idea. This is an idea that happened in Chicago under Mayor Rahm Emanuel, and the mayor had set a challenge with the community. If the community succeeded, he would run into the lake um, in January when it was freezing, right?
Oh
And they did
no.
it, and he did,
Are you
right?
serious?
And so, yeah, so we're the mayor said that's not going to happen. but we will find some other challenge to work with the mayor on, so that if we are able to do that, we will work something out with the mayor.
Or the dunk bucket, they throw something at the target and it just dumps you down into the pit.
Could do that with him as well. He's got a good heart, so we'll find something fun for him to do with everyone. But this is you know what we recognize is also just sitting and waiting for people to come into our libraries is not the way this is going to work.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
We need to go door by door. We community members who want to join us, going out and campaigning in the community, knocking on doors, talking to people about the importance of reading, giving out free books to families, making sure that they understand that the library is there for them, and that they can go on to clevelandreads.com and just put the books that they're reading, or the times they're spending reading, into onto the web page, and possibly winning stuff.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and I'm excited to be hearing firsthand about it, about the structure of it and the goal of it, and how we as an organization and others can be involved from any position that they're in. That's very interesting and exciting, and I see why people are excited about it. So, what can we expect from the kickoff celebration taking place in December? We talked about it a little bit. We talked about the dunk bucket, but
well, I don't think you're going to see that there. But what you will see is, you will see the mayor, you will see our Cleveland Teachers Union handing out thousands of books to our young people. You'll see a lot of different organizations there. You're going to see a number of children's authors who will be there working with kids to provide them with some books there for them, and to talk with the kids about the books that they've written. And you will see a whole bunch of community organizations that will be there to help our families if they need assistance on anything that could be helpful for them in the community.
That's very exciting. And for everyone that's listening, just repeat all the details for us: the date, the time, location, and when. That's the date.
Yeah, December 17th, from 12 to 3 o'clock. That's a Saturday, 12 to 3 o'clock at Public Auditorium.
Okay, Public Auditorium. Because we want to get the details exact so that we know precisely where to direct people. Absolutely. We wouldn't want to miss this at all, or want anyone to miss it. Not for anything. So, Director Thomas, what is your favorite book and why?
Wow, that's a great question. I have so many books that I like, but I think my favorite still, and I read it once a year, is Catcher in the Rye.
Oh, wow.
And I read it because I think I first read it when I was 13, and it is a kind of coming of age book. And so for me, it had, a kind of, as a young boy turning into a man, kind of feel that I still connect with even to this day.
Very good. That is a very important book. Because of the position that it's in with young people's age at the point that they intersect with this type of information. So it's definitely a great read. I totally agree with you on that. Absolutely. What book has inspired your life's work?
I don't know if it's the book necessarily. There's a title, Reinventing Government. It's by Al Gore and Ted Gabler. And little to my knowledge that I know, that when I read the book originally, it's about how government should be different. And when I was a younger librarian thinking about how I wanted to change libraries and things of that nature, I read the book, but I didn't know that actually I knew the author's daughter.
Oh,
Robin
wow.
Gabler was somebody I was working with at the library in Las Vegas, and I had mentioned it to her. She said, "You know, my dad wrote that book." I was like, so I had to go back and look at it, and I saw that it was, you didn't think about the author other than Al Gore on it, and so I had a chance to sit down and talk with him on it and really kind of understand what he was saying and talk to him a little bit more about it. And it was just fascinating, and so a lot about how I think about how government and libraries can be different.
Mm-hmm.
And how I've looked at it is my whole concept is reinventing libraries
Okay.
um, to be spaces that are much different than they have been traditionally.
Mm-hmm.
I see them moving from traditional to transformational uh, in the lives of people.
Oh, I love that. Traditional to transformational. Because everything evolves, and if we don't evolve, then we die. We don't progress, we don't get new ideas, we don't reach the next plateau, we don't have anything wonderful to leave for our children and grandchildren to build upon, all because people or institutions don't evolve and keep up with the needs of the community and society, as it seems that your strategies and your visions for the library have done just that. They've definitely kept abreast with the need and been on the lookout for it.
And it's been a challenge. I mean, when I first started here, I had a conversation with, we said that we were going to start providing lunches for children um, uh, with in a partnership with the food bank. And I had a lot of librarians, and one particular who came up to me. She said, "I didn't go to library school to be a lunch lady, right?" And um, what was interesting though, 5 years later, when she retired, she came to me. She said, "It's one of the most important things that we did." Right?
Mm-hmm.
And because she recognized by seeing all the kids who come through it. And before COVID, we were averaging 200,000 meals being provided per year at our libraries. So we know that this was making a difference in the lives of our kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, that's definitely traditional to transformational, like you just said, for sure. The Cleveland Public Library is more than books. What other resources and services do you provide to our community?
So I think it's important that people understand that we can be whatever the community needs. So the library was built off of making sure that people had the information to be better. And in the old days, the only way you provided that was with books. But as time has passed by, what we have seen is that we can do that in many different ways,
Mm-hmm.
right? Programming, number one. So this weekend, we're going to have Nicole Hannah Jones at our library, the author of the 1619 Project, to talk about, the book, all of the hoopla after that, the discussion around CRT, all of those issues that
Mm-hmm.
are, the communities are facing throughout the country. She's going to be with us to talk about that. And so the library plays an important role in providing information in a different way. This time it's with the speaker. Next time it could be we work with the uh, Legal Aid Society to make sure that folks who have issues that aren't, that they need to have addressed. The Legal Aid Society comes to one of our libraries every month, and we'll do a program in which they work with community members to help them and assist them with issues that they're facing in their own personal lives. Right?
Wow.
One story is a woman, uh, you know, came to the folks and her husband was abusive and he would not let her go out of the house, whatever. But she talked him into going to the library to take their kids. And he didn't understand, no, that the Legal Aid Society was there, and then she was able to get the assistance she needed just to file, some things against him and to be able to put herself in a safe place.
Wow. You see, you never know everything that goes into the success of an organization or a person's story. It's things like that that, make it worthwhile and really make the changing point in people's lives. That's a very beautiful story. Can you repeat for us the event that you just mentioned about the speaker coming, you said this weekend?
Yeah, so we do a series called Writers and Readers
Okay.
every Saturday at noon. And so this Saturday, it will be Nicole Hannah Jones, this Saturday, November 19th. It will be a virtual program,
Okay.
and you can go onto the Cleveland Public Library's website and register, and then you'll be able to get a link and join everyone and see her with us.
Okay, that's exciting also. Just another way that you're explaining about the transformational endeavors that the library is always engaging in for the purpose of the community and society so that we can better our lives, which is really life-saving. Really it is. One last question. How can the Cleveland community thrive just by reading a book?
So I think everyone is looking for inspiration, is looking for something that's going to help them move on. And whether it's a book that you've read before or it's a new book that like opens your eyes to something different, what we want folks to do is realize that reading in this time period where we are going through such a stressful time, a pandemic, all of the other upheavals that have happened around this, the social polarization of our country, what we have to do is to make sure that we are prepared as we can be personally to be knowledgeable about things and to take us away to a world where we can dream on our own. We know that reading taps the imagination in a way that watching TV or watching a movie just does not do, because it allows you to create the framework in your mind in a way that does not happen when that framework is given to you.
Okay.
So, and it's interesting because, I talk to a lot of people who want to be readers. And I was talking to an author, and the author said, make sure when you talk to anyone who wants to write something, that they understand that for every word they write, they should read 1,000.
That's true. That's true. And research too, yep.
Because it will make their writing that much stronger and that much better.
Those are very wise suggestions and tried and true and proven, and that's really the only way to be a good writer is to be a good reader and a good researcher, to know what else is going on in that field of conversation and field of topic discussion. Well, this has been a very interesting, thought-provoking, enlightening, and refreshing conversation with our Director Thomas of the Cleveland Public Library. So thank you again, and we appreciate you sitting down with us to talk about all that's going on with the library for our next edition of the Neon Time. So thank you again for your time.
Thanks you for having me, Nina. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.